Today we're going to do a demo of the Carousel Gallery block in FolioBlocks Pro, a premium plugin for WordPress. Let's begin by adding the block into the block editor. We can type / and the first couple letters of carousel. Now that we've added the block into the editor, before we add any images, let's click on the Align control and set it on full width. Nice. Now let's go into the Media Library and select our images. We can create gallery and insert gallery. So now you see the Carousel Gallery has rendered into the editor, and you have a full width carousel with really nice large images. Like the other gallery blocks in FolioBlocks, the Carousel Gallery renders the images as inner blocks. This means that the images are represented on the list view as individual blocks. You can click on any image and it will bring it up into the center of the carousel. And you can also click on an image and drag it and drop it in the list view to rearrange its order in the gallery. Since they are inner blocks, clicking an image will also bring up the image block settings on the right-hand side. Here you can change the image, edit the image caption, image title, or alternative text. As you work in the gallery, additional settings can display down here as well. Let's take a look at the settings for the actual gallery. We'll click on Carousel Gallery in the left, and the settings come up in the right-hand panel. Now the first option you'll notice is one to set the resolution of the images used in the gallery. The default WordPress sizes of thumbnail, medium, large, and full are available. And if your theme has registered additional sizes, they should display here as well. Let's go ahead and switch to full so we get nice crisp images. There you go. The Carousel Gallery block is responsive out of the box, and you don't need to adjust any settings for it to display properly on mobile. However, if you have a carousel where you're only using portrait images like this, then you want to go ahead and switch the image orientation to vertical images. Doing this will mean that on mobile, the images will fill up more of the viewport as it knows that they are all portrait images and it will resize them accordingly. If you leave it in the standard of horizontal, then on mobile, it will prioritize the layout for horizontal images and the vertical images will not fill up as much of the viewport. So the next setting is to enable autoplay. If we turn that on, you have a setting allowing you to set the speed and then a setting allowing you to set the carousel controls. Let's go ahead and turn that on as well. And now at the bottom, you have your carousel controls. We'll pause the autoplay for now. And you will notice there's also a controls alignment setting. We can move the controls into the left, keep them in the center, or move them into the right. Let's keep them in the center. We can hop over into the styles panel, and here we find the carousel control styles. Here we can change the background color on the buttons, as well as the color of the icon on the buttons. We'll leave it white though. Let's go back to the settings and look at the next section. Here you have your lightbox and hover settings. You can enable lightbox, and when you've enabled the lightbox, you get an additional option asking if you'd like to show the image caption in the lightbox. Let's turn that on. Let's take a look on the front end. So now on the front end, here's your carousel. And when you click on an image, it opens in the lightbox and you have a caption beneath it. You then have a setting to show overlay on hover, and we turn that on. And now when you hover over the image, you get the image title in an overlay on the image. Now there's a couple different style options for this. You have the default blur overlay. You have the fade overlay, which is pretty much the same thing without the blur. You have the gradient overlay, which puts the image title in a gradient at the bottom. And then you have the chip overlay, which puts the image title in a chip at the top left of the image. So that's lightbox and hover settings. In the next section, you have your e-commerce settings. And here you can enable image downloads. We'll turn that on. And you can decide if you want the image download icon to display on hover or always. Go ahead and switch to always. And now you see the images have a download icon in the top right corner. Now this does let you download the full resolution image. Turn that off for now. You then have an option to enable WooCommerce integration. Now this will only display if WooCommerce is installed and active as a plugin on your WordPress installation. We'll go ahead and turn that on. You get a similar option asking if you like to show the add to cart icon on hover or always. We'll put that on always as well. If you want to link an image with WooCommerce, it's pretty simple. You just click on any image, and in its image block settings, you have a new section for e-commerce settings. And here you can search for the product. This will search only your WooCommerce store, and then you can add the product. So now this has been linked, and you can see the top right corner, we get the add to cart icon. With WooCommerce integration active, some of the other settings we looked at previously also get additional options. Let's go ahead and take a look. If we look at the enable lightbox and turn that on, you now have an option to show image caption or product info in the lightbox. So we go ahead and switch that to product info. And we save that. And then we can go on the front end. Let's go over to the image that we linked. And now when we open in the lightbox, you see you get the product info, the product name and price showing in the lightbox. Images that haven't been linked with products, they will default back to showing the image caption. It's a similar option with the show overlay on hover. You can switch from showing the product info to just the image title. So for this one, you can see it's showing the product info with the price, and the other images that haven't been linked default back to just showing the image title. So that is WooCommerce integration. We'll go ahead and disable that for the time being. The next section, advanced, if we open that up, you have disable right click on page and enable lazy load of images. I think those two are pretty self-explanatory, so we'll skip over them. We can jump over into the styles panel. Here you can set a background for the entire block. So if we wanted to, we could make the background white. You can then add margin or padding to it. Let's go ahead and add some padding. You can see we add some padding there. After that, you have your gallery image styles section, and here you can add borders, border width, and border radius. So the default border color is already set as white, and we can add a border. And now if we enable drop shadow, you can see that it'll stand out a little bit more. And then we can also add a border radius if we like. There you go. So that is the Carousel Gallery block in FolioBlocks Pro. Thanks for watching.